Now at 10, a Missouri judge breaks a standoff between two state officials in an abortion rights case. Plus, the Carthage Water and Electric Plant Board responds to the city's attempt to dissolve the board. And more than a dozen businesses take part in Pittsburgh's 620 Day celebration. We'll hear from them.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
An Arkansas judge strikes down the state's ban on gender-affirming care for transgender minors. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. Arkansas's ban was the first in the nation of its kind. The judge ruled it was unconstitutional, and it's the first ruling to overturn such a prohibition as a growing number of Republican-led states adopt similar restrictions. U.S. District Judge Jay Moody issued a permanent injunction against the Arkansas law, which would have prohibited doctors from providing gender-affirming hormone treatment, puberty blockers, or surgery to anyone under age 18. The law also would have prohibited doctors from referring patients elsewhere for such care. In Moody's order, he ruled that the prohibition violated the due process and equal protection rights of transgender youth and families. He said the law also violated the First Amendment rights of medical providers by prohibiting them from referring patients elsewhere. The ruling affects only the Arkansas ban, but might carry implications for the fates of similar prohibitions or discourage attempts from enacting them in other states. A constitutional amendment proposal to restore abortion rights in Missouri will move forward. A judge today broke a standoff between two Republican officials that had halted the process. The judge ordered Attorney General Andrew Bailey to approve fellow Republican Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick's estimated $51,000 price tag on the proposal within 24 hours. Bailey had argued it would cost the state as much as 1 million times more because of lost Medicaid funding or revenue that wouldn't be collected from people who otherwise would be born. If approved by voters, the proposal would enshrine in the state constitution the individual right to make decisions about abortion, childbirth, and birth control. Kansas officials have agreed not to enforce a new restriction on medication abortions. The restrictions will not be enforced for at least 5 weeks. A state court judge will eventually decide a lawsuit challenging the restrictions and other existing rules. For now, providers won't have to tell patients that they can stop a medication abortion using a regimen that providers and major medical groups consider unproven and potentially dangerous. The new rule was set to take effect July 1st. The Carthage Water and Electric Plant Board says the City Council's decision to dissolve the board is unlawful. The council held an emergency meeting last Thursday to remove the board members from the positions. The council says the board violated a city ordinance that regulates the authority of the board to create policy or employee positions and assign salaries. Yesterday, the board released a statement saying they believe the decision was unlawful and that they will remain in their positions. You can find more information on the dispute on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. It's party time in Pittsburgh. The community today celebrated 620 Day, as in the area code and the date. This evening, the big event was a block party in the area of 2nd and Broadway. It included food, music, vendors, a car show, and more along the street and inside the Pritchett Pavilion.
It was really good. It feels good to do something that people enjoy, something that brings families together, something that brings businesses from all over the community together. It's just a great opportunity for us to think about working together for the betterment of our city and our local businesses.
Officials say the purpose of the event is to cultivate pride and celebrate the Pittsburgh community. Earlier in the day, several Pittsburgh businesses got in on that celebration. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has that story.
Christina Oberly is already familiar with 620. But this year, working on the event is different for her.
We just opened our downtown building at the end of August last year, and instead of doing our food truck tonight, we wanted to touch on the storefront and what we've done here in Pittsburgh and the uniqueness we've brought to the town.
Besides the opportunity to bring in customers, 620 is also a way for businesses to give back to the community.
I just like to do anything that I can reach out to our community and help out in any way. You know, it's important being part of the downtown.
The downtown is growing and growing and growing, and the city and the community support is you can't even put any words to it.
More than 15 businesses joined the celebration. Pittsburgh stores offered deals to residents and visitors, from 20% off to buy one, get one half off. O'Burley chose to price items at a certain rate. You guessed it, $6.20.
Special price today, $6.76.
To give people the opportunity to try something they might not try at full price. For instance, acai. It's one of those items that people aren't sure if they want. They don't necessarily want to spend $10 to get one.
Inspired by other cities across the country, Pittsburgh found an opportunity to encourage shopping local, especially during the summer.
For our downtown retailers and for our local businesses, summer is a little bit of a slow time in Pittsburgh. And so we want to encourage folks to shop local and support local businesses. And we use 620, our area code, as kind of a rallying point to get everybody to participate.
In Pittsburgh, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Clara says the day for her is also a way to recognize how the community has grown. A bit warm, but overall not bad for that event. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a breeze out there today, helping out with the warm temperatures. We were in the 90s, a large part of the area. We have some storms on radar, but unfortunately they're way out to the west. And unfortunately, they're also not moving in our direction. Closer in view shows mostly fair skies tonight, just a few high clouds way off towards the west. And that's not really helping matters much either. Now, as we go through the overnight hours, we're going to see temperatures dropping through the 70s, all the way down to around 65 degrees by tomorrow morning. And looking down the lane, we have more sunny and hot weather on the way, as well as the drought continuing, which is something we don't want to see. But we do have some weekend storm chances, and I'll tell you more about that. And also some summer-like heat behind that. And I'll unfortunately tell you about that as well when we come back.
See you soon. The Langston Hughes Cultural Society today gave people a lesson on the famed poet's ties to Joplin. The society hosted a presentation by historian Bill Martin, who's researching the site of a now demolished Joplin home where Hughes was born in 1901. The building was demolished in the 1950s, but the site still holds cultural significance to the city. Martin says he's still researching about Hughes online.
Well, that's what I did, and within 1 minute, anyone that would like, all they have to do is go to Kansas Historical Society, type in Langston Hughes, 1900, and the first article it'll bring up is Carrie Hughes' article of July of 1900, and she talks about Joplin.
Tomorrow, a team of archaeologists from Missouri Southern will conduct a geophysical survey of the site to search for clues about the home. Turnaround Ranch in Joplin today unveiled its newest addition, the Hope Cottage. It took 13 months to build. Officials say it's one of the most sleek and modern residential treatment facilities for children in all of Missouri. Hope Cottage resembles a single-family home and is meant to provide a safe and comfortable place to live for kids ages 13 to 18. Each resident has their own bedroom along with individual use bathrooms.
Access to get into the rooms has a key access, but to get out, the doors are freely opened. And so it allows that when they go in, they can come out as they wish, but it keeps other kids from being able to get into their rooms, damage their stuff and things of that nature, which helps to increase their own privacy, their own security, their own sense of their own space.
2 additional cottages are planned, one this year and another next year. Coming up, rescue crews continue their search for 5 Titanic tourists in a missing submersible. Plus,
pouring in following the plea deal struck with President Biden's son Hunter. I'm Skyler Henry in Washington, breaking down the charges in this federal investigation.
the Coast Guard says the search for the missing submarine that disappeared in the North Atlantic on its way to view the wreck of the Titanic has so far not yielded any results. The sub is owned by the company OceanGate. It runs tourist expeditions to the Titanic, about 13,000 feet deep. The Coast Guard says the submersible lost contact about an hour and 45 minutes into its dive. Among those missing, British billionaire Hamish Harding. Also on board is a Titanic expert and 2 members of one of Pakistan's wealthiest families. President Biden's son Hunter Biden has agreed to a plea deal with the Department of Justice, which could end a more than 5-year investigation into tax problems and an illegal gun possession. Hunter Biden still has to appear in court, and a judge must sign off on the deal before it becomes official. Skylar Henry is at the White House with more details about the case.
President Biden says he will continue to love and support his son as Hunter Biden agrees to a plea deal with the Department of Justice.
I'm very proud of my son.
Hunter Biden is pleading guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax charges, and he will admit to illegally possessing a gun while being a drug user.
What this indicates is that the Department of Justice thought this is where they could get an agreement. This is where they, if they went to trial, could show proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Hunter Biden is expected to receive probation for the tax charges. He'll have the gun charge removed after 2 years if he completes a diversion program.
I think the judge is going to do what's fair. And I think what's fair is, my client gets on with his life.
U.S. Attorney David Weiss, who was first appointed by former President Trump, defended the sentencing recommendation in a statement, saying actual sentences for federal crimes are typically less than the maximum penalties. Hunter Biden's charges come as President Biden is in the midst of a re-election campaign, and the leading Republican candidate is facing legal challenges of his own. Republicans strongly criticized the recent indictment of former President Trump, saying it shows the Department of Justice is biased.
If you are the president's leading political opponent, the DOJ tries to literally put you in jail and give you prison time. If you are the president's son, you get a sweetheart deal.
Trump himself called Biden's plea deal nothing more than a traffic ticket. Others say he's comparing apples to oranges. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
House Republicans say they're going to continue to investigate Hunter Biden's business dealings as part of a broader investigation into President Biden. A little later, an NFL offensive lineman and former Webb City standout visits Webb City to teach the next generations.
And we have more hot weather on the way, and I'll let you know when the next rain chances are going to be when we come back. Well, folks, it felt more like summer out there today instead of the last day of spring officially, and that includes Seneca, Missouri, where we saw mostly fair skies this morning at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. And as we go through the day, you can see mostly sunny skies continued through most of the morning into the afternoon hours, and just a few puffy cumulus clouds in the afternoon, but those went away as well as we headed towards evening, and we had a beautiful sunset out there, and now we're starting to see mostly fair skies again across the entire area. This afternoon we made it up to 90 degrees, which was a tad above the average of 87, but we were 1 degree below normal on the low, so it kind of averaged out a little bit. We're still way behind for the year on rainfall though, a little over 6 2/3 of an inch below where we're supposed to be. All right, let's take a look at the official astronomical start of summer, and that's tomorrow. And that's because the northern hemisphere is going to be tilted towards the sun, and the sun will reach its highest position in the sky. And then after that, shorter days are coming, but summer officially starts at 9:57 tomorrow morning, and we'll have about 14 hours and 43 minutes of sunshine. All right, let's take a look at the radar. It's mostly fair and clear across the entire region, just some ground clutter. There are some storms in southwestern Nebraska, but unfortunately, folks, that's headed away from us. It's moving up towards the north, and so there's really not a whole lot going on in our area. But the temperatures are at least not that bad right now, generally in the mid to upper 70s, a few 80s sprinkled in like Neosho with 80 and Anderson at 82. Meanwhile, it's already down to 70 degrees up there in Iola right now. Pick out your hometown. But when you factor in the dew points, it makes it feel a little bit different out there. 86 in Anderson, 83 in Neosho, 84 in Cassville for some of the warmest readings, but it feels like 70 right now in Iola. Rain chances, they're going to be low. In fact, they're going to be pretty close to zero for the next 36 hours, but then we're going to start to see some rain chances increase, especially as we head towards the weekend, but not tonight. We're going to see lows in the 60s under southeasterly winds, but notice out to the west, there are some showers starting to show up on the track model, and as we go through time, we might see 1 or 2 of these storms sneak into our western counties, but tomorrow, pretty much everywhere is going to be like today, temperatures right around 90 degrees with easterly winds. Then as we go into Wednesday night and Thursday morning, we're going to see lows in the 60s with northeasterly winds. And then as we go into Thursday afternoon, we might see an isolated storm or two, especially to the east around Monette, Greenfield, Osceola, but everyone will be making it up into the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees once again. Then on Friday morning, we'll see partly cloudy skies with lows pretty much in the mid to upper 60s across the area. And it's all because we're under this dome of high pressure that's just basically sitting over the central plains. But there is a low off to the east, and that's going to try to sneak back into our area from the east, but it's going to have a hard time doing so. So most of the rain is going to stay to the east with that system. But then as we go into the weekend, we're going to go into a northwest flow pattern, and that means we could have storms develop up to the north and west and then roll southeastward overnight and in the morning hours. That's what we're looking for as we go into Saturday. Unfortunately, not much rain is expected with the models right now, as most areas will see around a tenth or less. But as we get closer to the weekend, we might see these rain totals jump up just a little bit, depending upon the exact track of those thunderstorms. But in the meantime, it's going to be summer-like with temperatures near 90, and then storms start to increase as we go into Saturday night and Sunday morning, and then it dries out again on Monday and Tuesday. And look at that, Dow. The temperature just keeps going up and up and up, all the way to next Friday to around 96. So we're getting closer to that century mark.
Yeah, eventually there is a ceiling on these temperatures.
I hope so.
Yes, we hope so. Thanks, Sam. Fireworks sales began today in Missouri, and they're going to start soon in Kansas ahead of the 4th of July. Sales will begin in Kansas a week from today. Fireworks stores and fire departments alike are getting ready for fireworks season. This time of year comes with the need to stay informed about how to safely display the fireworks. Each city has its own ordinances about setting off fireworks, but there are also some things to keep in mind no matter where you are.
Small children, I would have them indoors, and I would at least double the distance away from the fireworks if you don't have any place to take shelter indoors where they can watch them in a safe area.
So I think sparklers are a good one, especially when you're starting out. Stuff where you can light back up and let them watch. That's really how you stay safe with it. Obviously, don't let them light it.
You can find more safety tips on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, or by downloading the KOAM News app. You can also read the fireworks ordinances for Joplin and for Pittsburgh. John Dales joins us now. The Joplin Outlaws already won their first game today, but they have the second end of a doubleheader.
That's right. The Outlaws, we know they already won that first game, but 2 7-inning games in Des Moines. I'll let you know if their winning streak turned into more than just one. And Webb City football alum and NFL center Tristan Colon visits his alma mater for a lineman camp this afternoon. Those stories and more coming up right after the break. Being an offensive or defensive lineman, it's a thankless job. You put in a lot of work, but don't get the highlights or the accolades of a quarterback, a wide receiver, or a linebacker. But at Webb City High School, being a lineman is not only appreciated, but has a lot of prestige behind it. Today, the Cardinals begin teaching the next generation of Webb City linemen at their Hog Pride Youth Camp. Over 150 campers are in attendance, performing various drills under the instruction of Webb City players and coaches, along with Tristan Colon, who participated in this camp as a child before playing in the NFL today.
You know, we've been fortunate to have a lot of Division I offensive and defensive linemen come through here, and we like to bring up that tradition to our kids and talk about, all the undersized kids that maybe didn't have a lot of expectations to them and how they've developed throughout their junior high and high school career, and they get a chance to go play in college and then a chance to play in the NFL maybe.
These kids, they be talking to me, I hear about a Chief joke every other joke here and there, but no, it's great. So, I love coming back, especially I live here. I live here with my fiance with 3 beautiful babies, so, love being home.
To local baseball, earlier this evening, the Joplin Outlaws broke their 4-game losing streak by taking down the Des Moines Peak Prospects in Game 1 of a doubleheader. So that means a chance to start a winning streak in just one day. And the Outlaws end up winning both ends of the doubleheader. Each win today also by an identical score of 6-3. Brett Sarwinski from Pitt State helped out big time with a hit, a run, and an RBI in Game 2. Outlaws are back within 3 games of first place in the Mink League South Division. And over the weekend, the Royals won their first game in 11 tries. Now, slapping that losing streak was huge, but they still haven't won a road game in the month of June. Kansas City's last road win was on May 29th. Trying to change that today, though. Royals taking on the Tigers in Detroit. First inning, no score with Michael Garcia at the plate. He grounds one up the middle off the pitcher. Zach Short bobbles it at short, but recovers in time to throw home and get Nick Prado out. So we stay at no score. That would remain the case until the 6th inning when Matt Beatty lines one down the line in right field off of Michael Lorenzen. Michael Garcia can walk in and score. Royals take a 1-0 lead. In the 8th, same score. Aroldis Chapman in a jam though. Bases loaded, and he gets Spencer Torkelson to ground into a fielder's choice to end the inning. Gets out of the jam, keeps the Tigers scoreless. 9th inning now. Royals up 1-0. Last chance for the Tigers. Tying run on third. But Scott Barlow gets the strikeout, and the Royals win it 1-0. Believe it or not, Cardinals also winners tonight. St. Louis obliterates the Nationals 9-3. Jordan Montgomery outstanding on the mound. He goes 7 innings, strikes out 6, only allows 1 earned run, and he picks up the win as well. Cardinals get back-to-back series victories, each of them coming on the road. They'll go for the sweep tomorrow afternoon. That does it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Now, technically, today is the last full day of spring because summer officially starts tomorrow,
Right.
but of course it's felt like summer for a while.
Yeah, it's been summer-like for quite some time, and it's going to stay that way, of course, even though the calendar, does change officially tomorrow. Storm chances maybe on Saturday and Sunday, and again Wednesday and Thursday of next week.
Final sports notes.
Royals, Cardinals, and Outlaws 4-0 today. They're all back
Wow.
in action again tomorrow.
Wow, alternate reality.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Morning show starts at 5 a.m. Let's make it a great